You ready?
Born ready.
Ooh, there's an intro for you.
That's the still for the front.
What's
That's
that?
what Sharpay does in High School Musical.
High School
I'm
Musical.
too old for that.
Sorry.
What was that?
You
don't like High School Musical?
It's raining cats and dogs, and that's why we're back here on the Chip Lunch podcast. 90% chance of rain. I saw on the weather app today.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, you saw that. Do you get the thing where it's like, you know how like lots of people think they know lots about the weather these days because they can see it on their phone? Have you noticed more people talk about the weather now?
Yeah, but
Oh,
the,
see, I
but
feel
the
like
weather's always app is always wrong.
That's my point. It's like everyone's like, oh, it's going to rain. And it doesn't rain. And you're like, well,
I feel I know less about the weather than I did growing up.
Me too.
because you're not watching on the news.
Yeah, it was always the last 5 minutes of the news. So I always knew what the weather was going to be like tomorrow.
I feel like it used to be more
And I-
accurate.
Nah,
That's a conspiracy.
I just don't look at it anymore.
You don't?
No,
But how
so
do
I'm
you know how
constantly
to
surprised. Well, I don't.
dress?
So I'm constantly surprised.
Is that why you do it? You want to surprise
I-
you every morning?
No, I don't want to be surprised. I walk out the door and I'm usually confronted with I'm now wearing the wrong shirts of clothes.
And you have to go change? Or
Oh,
you
too
just
late
go with
now.
it?
Just live with it.
Oh, I can't live like you. That stresses me out. I could not.
Does this mean you're an overpacker? Do you pack heaps?
I'm either an overpacker or an underpacker. There's like no in between.
Oh,
Right.
You're an alpaca.
Yes.
No, maybe
That's the title right there.
an alpaca is the name for a person that packs appropriately every time.
Is it actually?
No, it's an animal. There was an
Like a
alpaca
llama. Cut that
shop.
out.
There was an alpaca shop near the chapel that you got married in.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't.
Wait, did I know that?
Well, I don't know.
You went during the wedding?
No, before
That's what I thought.
we were waiting. How dare you suggest that I was late to your wedding?
Not late. You
No, I
left
just
in the
thought
middle.
you left. Yeah, you just left
This is
just to
getting
go
a bit
to see the
boring.
alpaca
I was
shop and
gonna-
get back.
Look, it's taking a bit of time. I might just visit the alpaca
When's
shop
the
while I'm
next
here.
meal
I'm gonna
coming?
go-
We'll just head over.
I'll go get myself a scarf made of alpaca fur and come back.
I think I did know that because I looked around there the day before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got shafted outside anyway for the wedding. So
But you actually,
yeah, I was outside. Only because I'm like, well, family and close friends should be sitting
Yeah.
in the actual chapel.
yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's your own fault.
Yeah, it's
It's
my own
your
fault.
It's your fault for being generous.
Your
to
fault
Yeah,
family and
exactly.
friends.
Such a
You
servant.
should have pushed everyone out of the way.
You should have
Excuse me.
elbowed
Sorry, great
and
aunt.
moshed.
I've known Chloe
Let you
Chloe and Jamie for a short amount of time. Out of the
I need to be
way.
in the front.
I don't
You
care.
don't need to sit there in the front. You have seen them for a long
Yeah,
time.
that's right, Uncle Jeff.
Victor.
Yeah, Victor. I don't know. Listen, Victor, get out of the way.
I don't know Victor.
Victor is an interesting name.
Victor's such
Do you
a
know any
weird name.
Victors?
Yeah, I don't.
Victor von Krum. He was a dog in Harry Canary.
No,
That
Harry-
does
no,
not.
no,
I was
that's
like,
not
why
right.
do I know
That's
that
wrong.
name?
It's Schnitzel von
Oh,
Krum.
Schnitzel von Krum. I don't know who Victor von Krum
His name is Schnitzel
Schnitzel
von
von
Krum.
Krum.
And he's the dasher.
With a very
He's
low
the
tum.
He's the sausage dog.
He is. Yes.
You mix it up with Victor Krum from Harry Potter.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So it's
Victor
Victor,
von
Krum,
Krum.
and then Schnitzel von
He
Krum.
My brain just accepted
he's
it.
the Dash Hound in Harry Potter.
Yes.
I wonder if there is I don't think there is a sausage dog in Harry Potter. Someone gets transfigured into something, into a dog. Victor Krum transforms.
Is he the one that turns into a shark?
Transfigures, yes, but that's in a different task in the fourth book.
Oh.
He transforms, I think, a rock or one of the other eggs into
A sausage
another
dog.
dog, but I don't think it's a sausage dog. It just says a dog in the first task
What?
of the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, with the dragons.
No, does Crumb do that? I think.
What?
Yeah, Crumb does that.
I
Pretty
have
sure.
no idea. That wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't
gosh.
read the books.
I have read
You
the
haven't
book.
read the books?
No.
Oh, come on.
Tell you're not a millennial.
Yeah,
Because I
100%.
saw the movies and when I was young, and then I just wasn't
Oh,
going to
the
read the
movies-
books after the
the
movies.
movies
I feel the
aren't
same
anywhere
about
as
Lord of
good
the
as
Rings.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read
Saw the
I've only,
movies.
I've only seen the
couldn't
movies.
get through the books. He needs an editor.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tolkien.
Tolkien. He is a genius and a really boring writer. Hot take.
Wow. It's flaming hot takes here on the Chip Lunch podcast. You want flaming hot chips? You got flaming hot takes as well from Tip.
That's going on the Patreon.
That's right.
I know that's going on the free version. We've exposed Tim with his terrible takes. Well, hot
said
takes.
hot takes?
I don't know.
Just
I'm
Just because they're hot doesn't mean they're wrong.
I'm worried about a backlash. That's all.
From all
Saying
those
that Tolkien's
all
a boring
those-
writer.
The high overlap in the
What, we
Venn
get
diagram
sued?
between Chip Lunch listeners and Tolkien fans.
Eli Crawshaw, probably. That's probably about it.
Sorry, Eli.
Anyway, let's go back to Chloe's story.
Back to Chloe.
It's always good to have you on. Welcome back
Thank you.
the following week. We left on this amazing cliffhanger about your husband, now husband Jamie.
Oh, spoiler alert.
How was it a spoiler alert?
We
It was
hadn't
last
mentioned
time.
it was a
name
husband. We name dropped. We didn't say who he was.
Oh.
Oh.
Logan Paul, your husband.
I'm actually
Which he did, I
appalled.
think he did get married recently. I think. No, see? Yeah. Luca and Hudson confirmed.
The Gen Alphas at the back know what we're talking about.
And the other one
Are
got
they Gen
engaged.
Alphas or Gen Zs?
No, they're Gen Zs.
Gen Zs, but they've grown up with Logan Paul. He's got two first names.
Probably.
Oh,
Can't
I
trust
don't
people
like.
with
oh, wait,
can't
hot
trust
take.
people with two first names.
Just say you can't.
I agree.
Yeah.
Two first names is just
Dodgy.
wrong.
Says Chloe Ashton.
But Ashton is.
I mean, fair point.
But that was you married into that. That's all your
yeah,
fault.
that was not my original.
Yeah.
And second of all, Ashton is not. I feel like it's not. Oh, maybe it is.
It is a first
like
name,
super
though.
common though.
What does that have to do
It's
with
not
it?
a. It's not a first name like John
Jean.
or like Paul. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
different.
It's different. Yeah. Well, maybe because it's two syllables.
Yeah.
And a lot of
I
last
can't do
names-
syllables though. I don't.
Actually, but your last name was Hong, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's one syllable.
And I think Hong can be a first name.
Oh, can it?
I think so. I think.
Could you have, so your
I
name
do
could be
know.
Hong Hong?
Well, no, because I wasn't named that.
No, but someone else, not just you.
Like
I
Christian.
think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Just cut that out.
Christian. We're not
Christian.
cutting anything out. We
Christian.
don't edit on this unless we were specifically asked to. And I know you didn't ask, you told. So I'm
Hudson doesn't have time for that.
Hudson knows time.
No.
He's a busy uni guy. You would understand. You were at uni, as we found out last episode. But
Spoiler alert. I went to uni. No.
oh, spoiler alert! Back on this. Let's talk about how
Okay,
you
what are we
met.
talking
You and
about?
Jamie met.
Yeah. Through the live streaming at my old church. I think I said that in the last one.
That's where you name dropped him.
You named it. Yeah, but you
Oh,
didn't.
yeah, that's how we
we
met.
didn't actually talk about
That's how we
that.
met,
Meet.
but he also went to my school, but he was not
It's a few
in my-
years ahead.
Yeah,
Mm.
4 grades maybe. So I like knew of him because it was a small school, but I didn't know him
Mhm.
until he moved to my church, and then I only got to know him through like doing the live stream
Spending a lot of time together.
stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how we met. I don't know. What more do you want?
Oh,
What more tea?
all
All
the
the-
details.
yeah.
Spill the tea, Chloe, on your relationship.
I think he was. Oh, once he slid into the DMs,
On
When I
what
was-
app?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay, that is usually where the DMs are, aren't they?
Yeah. Because I was in Scotland.
Oh, this is
And-
something we haven't heard.
Yeah, well, remember how I said I had a gap year in 2020 and I
Yes.
did nothing? Well, I actually did go to the UK for a month. But that was
On
like,
your own.
no, I went with my auntie and my cousin at the time who was like 6 months old. So I was like helping take care of him because her husband couldn't go from work and stuff.
Okay.
And they used to live over there.
Hmm.
And so they were taking my little cousin to meet his grandma over there. And then I just helped like babysit, but then also do my own stuff.
Hmm.
Like it was like a mix. Yeah.
Yep.
How do we get there? Oh, he slid into the DMs because I posted Scotland on my Instagram story or something. It was like snowing, like actual snow, which I've learned is very different to Australia snow. And he's never seen snow.
Mhm.
And so I think he slid in about that. But that was that.
And he's
It didn't go anywhere because I was dry and I was like not interested in it. I was like, this is so random.
Okay.
Yep.
So when did the interest in Jamie blossom then? When you were
Well, we were really good friends all throughout 2020 because we were spending so much time together doing the live stream. It wasn't just us two. There was like obviously other people too. But yeah, he was like leading that sort of because IT background and he knew a lot of camera stuff, I guess. I don't know. And I didn't know anything, but I learnt through him. And then we just became very good friends. I think he was interested in that time, but I was not. And
so what changed? I always find this really interesting. What
Wait.
changed?
I've got a good line.
Okay. Excellent. Sorry.
He told me he was interested in me, and I was like, oh, just don't like it like that. And that was that.
Oh, you got friend zoned straight away. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I friend zoned him.
That's tough.
But I think I was more like, I think I had feelings for him. I just didn't want to like accept that because I just didn't want a relationship. I really just didn't.
Oh, why were you so against having a relationship?
Because I got out of a messy one.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Okay.
So I got out of a messy one, like, it was just a mess. And then I just did not. I was just like, no. I
don't want to do this for a while.
I just want like a few years of like chill, nothing, no relationship. And then he came into my life. And so then I friend zoned him.
As a form of resistance.
Yeah, because I was in denial.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're married. So,
So things changed.
Yeah. So yeah, needless to say, things did change. And then I think we were still just really close friends. And then I don't know when it changed. I think I was just like, I can see myself marrying this man.
Oh, wow.
Has all the qualities that I would want. But I was like, oh, but I don't want a relationship. So I was like a bit, So basically the ball was in my court. So he was like, we obviously talked about it a lot. And it was like, if you want a relationship, then you ask me out. So it's like balls in your court. Because it was like, he knew what he wanted. But I was like, and then, yeah, I did, I guess. And then we started dating and then we're married 3-4 years later. I don't know.
I was going to say, you haven't been married for a year yet, have you?
No.
No.
But we dated
you're
for
talking
like,
you dated for that long. Okay, cool.
No, I've been married for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I think.
I know. That's why I was confused.
It's quite short. Yeah.
Something that I remember from Jamie's speech at your wedding was that.
I don't remember any of it.
Okay, it's a big day.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything of Karen's speech really.
Yeah, it's so like that day's just a blur.
She put something in there about me carrying her up the stairs. He said that you like were absolutely massive for him in his life. Can you tell me why that was the case? Like what's your perspective on that is what I mean.
Okay.
Not like the details.
I'm not going to drop any details because you can save that for if he ever comes on here.
Yes, I think so.
And what he wants to share. But I think like those, because we became friends like through COVID, and obviously those years were a struggle for many people. And I think like I was quite young at the time. He was obviously younger at the time. And I think he was like there was just a lot going on in life. And I feel like we supported each other in a way that like I'm not even saying when we're dating, like just having each other as friends and having that close friendship, I think helped us get through those tough years and like years ahead as well and difficult things.
Because you both had a lot of changes in your life?
Yes.
Like those things like together, like you got
more.
COVID and things changing and...
Yeah, like and then I went to uni and then he changed jobs. Yeah, I feel like there was a couple of years of just like mess. Like just like a lot going on.
Which is why I think in the last episode you said that you were really glad that you worked on strengthening your faith so much like towards the end of high school and coming out of high school.
Yes.
You said it kept you it was a lot more. It's good to be a lot more solid in that when you had a lot. You just said a mess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Can you tell us about how like your faith really helped you get through that stuff?
It was just like a solid, constant kind of ground
Mhm.
thing. Like it was something that like it gives hope. Like it was like something, I don't even know how to put it into words. Like it's like it was something that I could count on, and it was constant and it was always there. Like God is always there. I can always talk to him.
Mhm.
I can always just open his word and find like there's always something relevant sort of thing. And I think it was just like a sense of comfort almost
Yeah.
through messy times.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So then I was going to ask you, you've been at Soul Revival for how long now? Is it like
I always get
kind of
confused.
like 3 years or something?
Yeah, the first time we went to a service, I think it was Easter. I think it was maybe Good Friday. So I think it's almost 3 years, which seems
Okay.
so weird.
Yeah.
Like that just
Oh,
seems
yeah.
so long. But
It's
yeah,
quite an interesting story though, like how you ended up coming to Soul Revival.
yeah.
You want to share that?
I guess Jamie and I were looking for a new church, and so Jamie's parents live in South Village,
Yeah.
like facing, like their balcony faces the church, the factory, and so you can always hear it. I think it just like echoes up there.
Which is kind of fascinating because we don't know because we're in there.
Yeah.
Like if
No, you can
you're
really
playing
hear it. You
music and
can.
stuff.
The youth group is super loud. You can really hear the youth
there's
group.
2 youth leaders over there.
But it's good because like people know there's something going on down there because it's like a bit of a random location. But we knew it was Soul Revival even before we were looking for churches because we were like, oh, what church is down there? You know, just like interested. And then we're like, oh, we could just try that church that's like literally across the road from where you're living. Like that would be easy. And so we did. And then, yeah, I think it was Good Friday. And then we went to Cronulla, the one in Cronulla, because we were just used to Sunday nights because Saturday nights were like, I mean, it is quite an adjustment.
Interesting.
And we just found like a lot of things on Saturday night. So we went to Cronulla, which was Sunday nights, what we were used to. But yeah, we literally just knew about Soul Revival because we could hear it from the balcony. Or like, even if the balcony door's closed, you can sometimes hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or the youth group, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be loud.
Yeah, definitely the youth group.
Yeah.
But you can hear like music playing on a Saturday night from those apartments. Yeah.
And so you eventually moved back to Saturday night at Kira.
Yeah, we eventually moved back to Saturday nights. I think we were at Cronulla for like almost a year before moving back to Saturday nights like consistently. I think it was good because it was like stripped back. It was something really different. It was like a lot smaller. It was probably like Cronulla was probably like half the size that it is now when we started. And it's like a lot more stripped back. Like it's like 1-2 people in music. Like, I don't know, it was a different experience. But it was really nice. And
Do you think you were looking for that?
yes.
Oh, okay.
I think we didn't know we were looking for that, but I think from where we were coming from leaving our old church, we needed that. And then that was really nice. But then after a period of time, we're like, I think the struggle was there wasn't too many people our age or in our life stage at Cronulla. So we wanted to try Saturday nights more to meet more people. And we knew that was the main service. So then we did that. Yeah.
Can you tell me about why it was a bit of adjustment for you to go to Saturday nights?
Yeah.
Because the reason I ask that is because both Tim and I have grown up a long time. Like we're at Gaimea at Soli's on a Saturday night and churches on a Saturday night for a long time.
You're used to it.
Before Tim moved over to Kirrawee on Sunday morning. But yeah, we were used to that. But I suppose just someone coming from the like hasn't been part of Sorrow Revival for a long time and then coming to do Saturday night, like why was that a difficult adjustment? Or not difficult, just an adjustment.
I think it was like Sunday was always the church day, like Sunday night. Nothing's really on a Sunday night. And then I was like, that was the year like everyone's turning 21. So I had like a 21st every Saturday night. So that like made it hard to go consistently. And I didn't want to go to church. Like, I mean, there was times I went to the service and then would just go to whoever's birthday after. But I don't want to do that consistently. Like I don't want to go to church just for the service and leave because they're like, I'm not getting that fellowship and I want to meet people, like, you know. So I think I found it hard because like friends always wanted to plan stuff on Saturday nights. So it was just this like, it was also a mental adjustment of Saturday's church day, Sunday's free. Like it was just, I'm not good with change. So it just like took a lot to get my head around. And also even now still, if I'll be like, oh yeah, I go to church on Saturday nights, people are like, Saturday? Like even other Christians, like I feel like it's just a little bit unheard of.
Yeah.
But then once I fully committed being like, no, Saturday nights leave free because that is church and that became the priority, then it was an easy adjustment. I just had to like get over that stepping stone of like, oh, but social things. And now I'm like, if I'm planning something with my friends, I'm like, oh, I can't do Saturday night. Like that's just the rule. I do
and how
Friday
do your friends respond to that? Like, does that muck up their plans? Do you feel that there's a bit of a tension there now on the social side?
A little bit. I think my Christian friends are like, cool, like whatever. Non-Christian friends will, if everyone can do a Saturday night and I'm the only person that can't, then usually I'll like compromise sometimes. But sometimes I just won't go as well. I've done that as well because I'm like, I'd rather be at late night in church. Yeah.
And you said that you like spending longer time at church rather than just turning up for an hour and going home. Is that something that you obviously value? I'm guessing that you value when we do that at Soul Revival too.
Yes, definitely. Like, I think Soul Revival does it really well as well. I like that late night is like a structured thing, that there's like a team running it and it's like set for every week. My old church did kind of like a late night thing, but it was more just like the young adults would just like figure out what they're doing that night. It was not like a planned structured thing. So I feel like sometimes it's just not helpful for a Christian group. For example, like we'd go to the pub. Like going to the pub after church and having a few drinks is not like, what about if people who are struggling with that kind of like with drinking or something like that, like you're not thinking of your brothers and sisters that might stumble, whether you know it or not, that sort of thing. Whereas I think then coming to Soul Revival and having it late night as like a structured thing, Jamie and I really appreciated that and we're like, this is really solid and really good. But yeah, I don't want to go to church just for the service. Like, yes, that's a huge important part, but so is the fellowship with other people and being inviting to new, not like people who show up to church and making friendships within the church. Like that's a huge part of church as well. Like it's not just the sermon.
Yeah. And I think when you tell people that, like, sometimes people are there till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to do back in the day. But we would like, people were surprised that we were doing Saturday night solies and then doing church on a Sunday night as well. And they're like, why do you spend so much time at church? Yeah. And I think it's interesting you saying that your friends are like, everyone's doing a Saturday night. Sometimes you're like, I'm just not going to come. It's interesting. I'd be interested to see what they think of that. Yeah. Like showing how committed you are to going to church and saying, well, Saturday night is my night that I can't do anything on. Because it's pretty countercultural. Yeah. Like,
I'm not saying I do that every time. Like sometimes,
okay.
There's like times where you go, but I'll always try go to church if I can and then just go after.
And
like
that's
I still want to make the commitment.
And that's exactly why we structured Saturday night as is that if you do have an event on, then you can still come to church and go do that anyway. Yeah. All right. I wanted to ask you another question. about a reasonably sensitive topic, that we've known that Jamie had a car accident
Yes.
relatively recently. You said you were okay to talk about it. So
You're not just putting me on the spot.
No. I suppose it's up to you how much you want to tell us about it, because it's pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
So I'd probably just leave it for you to tell us what happened, or what you feel like you wanted to say happened.
Yeah, sure.
But also, I'd be fascinated to know how, just like with your faith that you strengthened so much, like got you through some messy times after high school.
Yes.
How it
got me through this.
Yes.
And
how
definitely.
But how God spoke to you through it and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamie had a car accident, a pretty serious one. And a pretty traumatic one. Like, I got there before not first responders, like neighbors came out it was like a minute from our house. I got an alert on my phone that said serious car accident. Yeah. So set up your emergency contacts. That's what I would like to say to everyone.
Because it's recognized that a serious like event has happened.
Apparently I think it's like maybe only newer models, but it detects when there's like a severe car accident, what it determines as. I don't know how. It must be something with like the sudden movement and stopping or something.
Or maybe it knows you're moving. That's the first thing, and then it stops suddenly. Maybe.
Yeah, but apparently it won't pick it up as like a little bumper.
Sure,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got a text message saying severe car accident. I didn't know phones did that. Like I didn't know that was even possible. And obviously when I got that, like I think I just read car accident or car crash or whatever it was saying, but it was like call emergency services. And I was like, well, I'm not there. I don't even know what you need, like whatever. I could see, it sent me his location with it. So I could see where it was. And I was like, oh, it's like literally a minute down the road. I'll just drive down. So I drove down, got there before ambulances and everything. He was unconscious, but like I could see he was breathing, but the car was locked and I don't have a spare key. So I couldn't, like no one could get into the car. So we couldn't do anything. People had obviously like heard it because it was quite loud and came out from the neighboring houses and were already calling ambulances and stuff. Anyway, we're at this scene for a really long time. Like they treated him for like 45 minutes to an hour before taking him to hospital. I didn't know what they were doing because I was like talking to police and it was like no one else was injured. It was like parked vehicles, so I was like dealing with all that. And then they took him to hospital. They took him to St. George because trauma. So like when I looked at him in the car, I could see he was breathing. Like obviously I was freaked out, but I could see he was breathing and but it was unconscious, but he was like rousable. Like when I was like bashing on the window, I could see he was trying to like kind of wake up.
Yeah.
And then the police had told me, oh, he's talking to the paramedics and like they're just going to sedate him because I think it was like confused or whatever. So in my mind, I was like, oh, he's awake, he's fine. So I didn't quite, because they said he's talking, not that he was just like able to respond, which turns out that's what it was. So I thought it was like, oh, he's literally fine. I'll get to hospital. He's just going to be awake in bed and whatever.
Yep.
And then it was not like that. Got to hospital. I brought my dad with me because he's a doctor. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you can translate what they say.
Good move.
And also you just get special treatment if you bring a doctor with you. Yeah. Okay. Like they printed our own reports of the CTs and everything and just gave it to my dad. And anyway, we learnt that he had blood on his brain. And at this point they had called in, because it was called in the neuro team that was on call, but like they hadn't arrived yet. So this was just from like the registrar being like, there's blood on the brain. He's obviously hit his head really hard. So that was the biggest thing, because I've watched Grey's Anatomy. That's not good. That's what I was thinking, to be honest, though. I was like, I know that blood on your brain is not good. And he has fractured like his whole face, basically. So he had what is called a Lefort 3 fracture. It's a very rare fracture that fractures all down here And essentially this whole middle part of his face was not attached because it was like all broken.
Goodness. So across the cheekbones, like
Yeah,
the
so
top
like
cheekbones.
eye
Just for
sockets
people
almost,
listening,
and like nose, and then like whole midsection of your face essentially like floating, like it's
Wow.
not attached. So it had like fallen down, sunken in. Yeah, it was a mess, to say the least. And when they put us in emergency, they took us to like a separate room to tell us of his injuries. And so I was like, oh no.
It's pretty serious.
I've seen that in Grey's Anatomy. Like that's where they say, you know, that they're like incurable or something, like it's really bad. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And it was really bad. But with every step of the way, without telling this entire story, because it was 3 whole weeks of hospital, every step of the way we kept getting more good news, more good news, more good news. So there was more hope, like, oh, the blood in the brain is literally like millimeters, so it's not causing too much pressure. So it's
okay.
The neuro team was literally like, we don't care, like it's fine. And the most confronting thing was just like seeing him, because like you just couldn't recognize him.
Yeah.
But through every step, it was just like, I was just like praying in my head the whole time at the hospital. Because I like, what else do you, like, you have nothing. I don't know. I remember saying to my mother-in-law, being like, and I think she said it to me as well, like, how would people get through something like this if they didn't have a faith or they didn't believe in just any God or any higher being? Like, I actually don't know how. I don't think I would have gotten through it nearly as well as I did.
Yeah.
Because it was just like that hope, and also just that I knew God is in control of this. Like yes, this sucks and this is like super bad and whatever, but I was like, God has a plan and knows what he's doing.
Even if it's not what you wanted or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And like, it's just like a lot of comfort in that, which sounds maybe a little bit strange, knowing, but like with the circumstances, but like that was like the only sense of comfort I had in that time. So, yeah, I found I was like leaning on God a lot, obviously. Also like told my Bible study, like, or community group, like really, I think that night, like when I was at the hospital, because I was like, we just need a lot of prayer. Like we just need people praying. And that was a great support.
I remember I was bothering you about coming on Tube Lunch.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and I was like,
yeah.
this is
I felt
actually
so
what's
bad,
happened.
but I didn't know. But
No, like no one really knew at that point.
Then a couple of days afterwards, you're like, Jane's been a really bad accent. I can't really do this right now. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, he was fully sedated for 6 days, maybe, like fully asleep.
It's like kind of coma, right?
Yeah, like induced coma, because everything was so swollen and the pain would have just been like, even on pain meds, would have been insane. Anyway, and then on the 4th day of him being in hospital, they did the surgery, because it took them that long to work out what to do. Like, it was just a lot of facial trauma. And his skull was smashed as well. So that was neuro team that had to do that. So it was like a lot of different teams involved, and they were just like working out what to do. Had a 9-hour surgery, fixed his face. He looks the same. Like, that was probably one of the biggest anxieties, was like, is he gonna look the same, but also be the same?
Yeah.
Because obviously there was a brain injury, and I was just like it's like in a split second, our whole life just turned upside down, and nothing, like I just didn't know anything. It was like, I hear from the doctors this, that, but you just don't know until he wakes up. So that was the worst part. But in that, just like leaning on God to get me through every day, And like I was at the hospital for like 6 to 8 hours every day, just holding his hand. He could like and I saw signs like he, even though he was like sedated, he was enough to like be roused, like so he could squeeze my hand and stuff. So I was like, there's
that's gotta help.
hope, yeah. But still, you just don't know. And every day I would just ask God, like, just show me a sign, like give something good, like some sort of sign for hope or something. And he did.
Yeah, and the improvement, just
Yes.
the tiny little improvement.
And he did. And so this all happened like first week of January, I think.
Or something like that.
So he was in hospital for 3 weeks. Oh, he also broke his arm, which they somehow didn't know for the first little while, even though it was like black. It was like really bruised. And I was like, oh, I think something's wrong. But like, honestly, so many miracles from this experience. Like his head down, the only thing was the arm break. Like literally not even, like basically not even a scratch. Legs untouched. Like body, torso untouched. Like there wasn't a scratch, which is insane. And as much as one thing that I found helpful, which is maybe a little bit morbid, but the neurosurgeon said to me, yes, it's really bad he smashed his face and like it was facial, but he protected his brain by doing that. Like had he hit the back of his head, it's like straight onto the brain. And so it would have been very different outcome.
Right.
It's almost like almost like a crush zone of a car, your face, like it's protecting your brain. So they were like, oh, he's definitely going to need brain injury rehab. He'll have to be inpatient at the Liverpool Brain Injury Clinic, all of this. So that was like a lot to take in, obviously, and just like a lot of unknowns, a lot of life changes that like obviously after 3-4 months of being married, I didn't expect to like be put in that situation ever, if like, let alone so fast. But I think it also, like just having God to lean on was just like the only thing that got me through every day. Like I seriously don't know how anyone goes through anything that traumatic and like just doesn't have that hope or that like comfort that there is a plan and God knows what he's doing. And, you know, he's got his hands on this. Like, yeah. I remember thinking so many times, like, how did anyone do this without that? Like, I just,
I remember one of Karen's uni friends, her husband was in a pretty, like had a spinal injury. And her like group of friends at uni is quite large, but there was like almost half Christian and non-Christian. And she said the reaction
very different.
It was just really different because not because makes the event any worse or better. It's not better. Yeah. They're not going, oh, it'll be okay. But it's the hope that is different, that knowing that God can take charge of any situation.
Yeah.
And I can hear that in your voice as well.
Yeah, it just gives like a different perspective on it. It's just like I knew as bad as it is, God has a plan for this. And whatever the outcome is, like that's his plan for our lives or whatever. So that is what it is. Like, yeah, it was, I just have no idea how anyone could ever get through anything like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was actually only in hospital for 3 weeks, which is pretty crazy. And we withdrew the application to do inpatient brain rehab because he was like, somehow his brain is like
really well.
so well, like his brain, even the matter just wasn't like shaken or loosened. Like it was just, and he genuinely is like, God had a hand over my brain in that situation. Like everything else around it was wrecked, but my brain did not get anything. And like his skull was super smashed here, like in little bits, some parts of it, but somehow not a single skull fragment went through his dura into his brain anywhere. And they also were like, we're going to look for the CSF, like the cerebral spinal fluid, if there's a leak of that, and they were like, look, there will be. It's just the extent of that, but that's quite bad. There wasn't. There wasn't a leak. No. Oh. And they were baffled. Like the doctors that called me after the surgery were like, oh, and his brain looks really good. Like it's
a beautiful brain.
It looks like intact. Like there wasn't any bone that we could see. Somehow the CSF hadn't leaked anywhere that they saw, and they were like confused. And I straight away was just like in my head being like, well, that just goes against all odds ever. Like that was God, like 100%. And him waking up and hearing what happened and what he's been through, because he'd been asleep this whole time, he was straight away like, oh, this was God. Like this was like, that's just insane. And even still now, you know, like what, 3 months on almost from this, it's like he is already back to work fully. Like you wouldn't notice any deficits. He just had the big brain assessment thing, and he's literally like above average for everything. And they were saying, saying like, like 2-3 months on, that's like unheard of. So it's just like so many things that happened that I'm like, this is not a coincidence. And this is like, and the doctors were so baffled. Like they were just like, wow, like how in 3 weeks he was up and talking and walking and doing everything normal, and he was himself as well. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, getting me through that time, like not only the time when he was asleep and, you know, all the unknowns, but also even still now, like it's still a big adjustment, like mentally quite fatigued still and that sort of thing. But it's like I still am like, even though it's all been good, I'm not like taking that for granted. Like that's a God thing. Like it's like, yeah. But yeah, it was just so different having such a hope and such a constant to lean on, and that comfort, just knowing there is a plan here, whether I know it or not, whether it's my idea or not, there is a plan, and his plan is good.
Has it impacted you how you think going forward? It's only relatively recent.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really solidified that for me, if anything.
Okay.
I think just like he really does have his hand over everything, whether you can see it or not. Like, obviously that was a very big thing, and I mean, in my opinion, very obvious signs of him there. But even in the small things, like he really is just there, and like he does know what he's doing.
And he's at work.
Yeah, like he's active. Like he's not just sitting around watching us like little Sims or something. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Actively engaged.
Yeah, I think it just solidified a lot and taught me a lot about leaning on him.
Okay.
Through the hard, but also through the easy. Because I feel like I find it easier to lean on God and my faith when things are really, really tough.
Yeah.
But when things are smooth, I'm like, I find that harder.
Yep.
But I think since then, it's just been a more constant for me. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, because it's
No
a
problem.
very crazy and difficult event to deal with. So thanks.
Yeah, it was just like you never think it's going to happen to you until something does. But yeah, and having the whole, like, because it was in the newsletter, having the whole church praying for him. Like Jai was like, do you want me to come back from New Zealand? Like just having that support was just like, that was almost so overwhelming too, that it was like, wow, like these people do care. And I think that comes back to what I was saying. Like, I don't want to be at church just for the service, because that support when you need it, like that changes a lot too. Like that made me be like, wow, like these people care. They're actively caring and praying and checking in. And yeah, it's very different to like my non-Christian friends that didn't know, or that did know about it. I feel like they obviously wanted to make sure I was okay and checking in as well, but different in the sense of like people praying for you or being like, oh, I've been praying for you. Like just even short message like that, or just, how are you going? Is there anything I can do? That, like, I didn't have any non-Christians say that, or be like, can I make you a meal? Or can I do this? Can I do that? I feel like it just really shows that Christian sort of attribute of like hospitality and like just being very active.
Well, like we're working in
Okay.
tandem with God. Like you're in this
Yeah.
difficult scenario and you're like praying and stuff, but everyone else is like, we'll work with God in other things to help
Yeah.
to support you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just kind of completes the whole.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
No problem.
there's just one more question to ask you, which is, if you look back, and you're pretty young, but as we've already established, but what would you like to tell your younger Christian self that you know now?
My younger Christian self.
Or could be non-Christian self as well, but your younger self.
I think I had, as a young Christian, I was very like, I think we said this in the first episode, like I have all the knowledge, but I didn't get that conviction. But I think also a lot of my young self, I wanted like some big testimony story, because I'm like, oh, well, I haven't had this light bulb moment, so am I a Christian? Like some doubt like that. I'd love to tell myself, like, you don't need that a specific moment, like a specific time where you can recall, that's when I became a Christian. Because for me, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be like that. Because I think sometimes I was like seeking that. Like when is that going to happen? Or when am I going to have this kind of light bulb moment where everything just clicks? But like, no, that's just not how it has to be, sort of thing. So I tell myself not to be seeking or waiting for that. Yeah.
So don't be waiting for the big story to come. Just rely on God, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like just seek Him first.
Yeah, seeking Him first.
Yeah.
And then you're like, everything kind of falls more into place because you're
the
putting
puzzle
that
pieces.
first.
Like,
yes, we're back to the puzzle. Yeah.
And it just speaks to God's faithfulness slowly over time.
Yeah.
That actually, in normal Christian life, is just that day by day, week by week, year by year, and you don't notice that you've grown or whatever. As you say, there's no necessarily big moment. It's just actually just over this time, I've come to know God more. I've spent more time with Him. I've prayed more, or I just and I've stuck with Him. So that just the small things and the small life with God is really key. Yeah,
I was thinking about that the other day, that there is often a focus, like when you look at content, content and stuff, where it has to be a really like crazy testimony of coming to know Christ. And the reason I was thinking about it was because one of the members of Korn, the band, became a Christian.
Right.
And he talks about how he was addicted to drugs and stuff like that. But he's like really honest, like he's not making a big deal. But it's like, that's not most people's story, but they're the ones we put on a pedestal, which is interesting because we think that's what will bring. And there's truth to it, the fact that like Jesus for anyone.
Yeah.
There's no rules on who becomes a Christian, but it's interesting that we focus on it because we think that's what most people will think. If I hear that story, then other people will become a Christian. But I think there's something to be said for what you're saying, is that over time, like sanctification, like coming like. I mean, and it really encouraged me to say you like everyone's got like rally behind you and stuff, because I think that's an outworking of that.
Yeah.
Is that that's part of our normal life as a Christian. That
Yeah.
if one of our family is in a difficult situation like you guys were, then we just go and help them.
Like you wouldn't even question it. That's just kind of. I found that I felt like the people doing that was just their natural response.
Yeah, that's
because we're like. Yeah, like we're in the church and we're like actively seeking God.
Yeah.
And it makes you just.
And it's what you were also saying about we don't go to church for an hour. We're a Christian. And there was something I remember you said you noticed when you were in Vanuatu. You're like, no, I want to be a Christian all of my life, not when I just go to church.
Yeah.
And I think that is, again, a result of living like one of our values at Soul Revival's worship is all of life. Is we're living it Monday to Sunday. Not just on a Saturday or a Sunday for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But we do that like for a longer amount of time, which is one thing you mentioned before about like being in fellowship. But then as a result, we can do that for all of our lives rather than, a little hour and you say like a tea and a biscuit and then that's it, Tim. It changes you more.
Yeah.
It changes you more to be like Christ.
Yeah. I mean, church is not an event. It's one of the things we do because we are Christians. But we're a community, we're a family together.
Yeah.
So of course you jump in and help with family. Like of course, I mean, I think we ended up being the last one on the meal roster because we waited like 2 days to fill in the thing, and by then every single slot for 6 weeks was kind of covered. It was just like, okay, well I guess we'll do this one.
Yeah. I think we had a look and I'm like, it's full.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, because we're community. I mean, we're family. You're not a couple who just happen to be at the same event that I'm at on a Saturday night.
Yes.
And we're always at the same event together. It's like, no, that's not how we view each other.
Yeah.
And it's not how we view church.
Yeah.
As you say, the service is important because it's one of the key things that we do together because we're community.
Yeah.
But it's not the only thing we do. And that's what we lose sometimes when we just come for an hour and have a bicky and go home.
Yeah. Well, thank you for highlighting that. To have that discussion.
And it's also encouraging, like having gone through this experience and having everyone just jump on kind of and support you.
Yeah.
Like it was so encouraging to me to be like, oh, yeah, like this is how we want to be for our Christian brothers and sisters and for our community and for our family.
Yep.
Like, and I could see that in practice. And especially when it's happening to you, it's like, oh, wow. Like it's just such an overwhelming, like, thankfulness for that support and community, but also just like I was like a bit in awe of like the meal roster just filled up so fast. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, wow. Like I didn't expect that. But then when it's happening to you, like, wow, like, yeah, this is a great like example of how we want to be, like jumping on things and checking in and being so active for our family.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
It's been really fun. And you, again, like just hearing, again, I always say this is the reason we do this podcast is not because how many people listen to it, it's because we get to hear the stories of how God has worked in other people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's clear that he has worked in your life and Jamie's, and it's just really special to hear your story. And I'm sure we'll probably get you back on again in a while because there'll be.
I'll come back for sure.
I'll come back if you pay me.
I guess so. I'm in heart to man, but
your people to talk to my people, and
I'll get my manager to
work at a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really encouraging to hear how God has worked in your life and you've responded to Him. I think that's what's really cool because we're talking about like people looking after you and encouraging you, but it's the same thing hearing you say what you've said today is the fact that like you can go through something that's really, really difficult and traumatic, but the fact that you're saying that God's in control of that, for other people to hear that is really important too, I think. So thank you for being willing to share that stuff. Yeah. Because it's really, really important. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anything you'd like to add, Tim?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for listening or watching. I have thoroughly enjoyed our time with Chloe.
Thank you.
And if you see Chloe at church, say hello.
Yes.
And give her a high five.
I'll just stand there with my hand up, just prepared.
She's a wild high five at Chloe.
You might need to line up.
Just everyone's just anyway. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you to Chloe. Thank you to Tim. It's been a fantastic chip lunch. And as always, we finish with a one way.